Hello, people of the world watching car-related internet videos. Welcome to this, my 1974 RA21 Toyota Celica ST with a Toyota Tundra V8 under the hood. If you're new here and you missed out on the previous video to this car, up above is either a link to the last video where I worked on it, or also could be a delicious recipe for robot pupae enchiladas. Also known as a silicone boot, which may be a solution to my heat issue with this being so close to the header. And coupled with a pair of heat shields that I still need to fabricate, I think it'll solve this problem once and for all. Rubber may be thick and tear resistant, but it is not heat resistant. Silicone, albeit limp and flaccid and tears easier, is heat resistant. I don't know if I can get it over this. Oh yeah, silicone's a lot stretchier. You know what? That's gonna get the job done. I picked up probably about 2 millimeters, maybe 3 millimeters clearance. That's great. That in addition to redoing the angle of the two lower collectors on the header, and I should have plenty of room for the heat shield. Silicone fixed the first problem. Now it's time for silicone to fix the second. As you can see, the hanger for my custom titanium muffler has quite a bit of play in it side to side because of the rubber bushings. And these have a hardness of 75A and are silicone. Buying a couple of bushings was a rather inexpensive test to see if this would be enough to solve the issue. If it's not, there is a second option available. And problem better but not solved. There's still quite a bit of side to side movement, so gonna go with a different style mount. Oh man, I don't know where anything is. This is gonna be a challenge. I found it. My shoe is speaking penguin. This is the worst smelling material I've ever had in my presence in my entire life. As you may recall in my previous video, I had to modify the inner fender panel to fit with the TRD over fenders, but the rubber weather stripping was deteriorated. So, I cannot describe what this smells like. That can't be good for you. I couldn't have nailed it any harder. That's what he said. This literally fits like it's meant to be here. So this rubber has to touch the back of the fender to keep air and debris from going up inside the door jamb. And that is literally perfect. Initially, I was going to redo this entire piece out of plastic and try to mold it into the shape of the factory metal ones, and it quickly dawned on me that was a stupid idea and nothing is going to be better than slightly modifying the factory pieces. And besides, it would look weird seeing a car from 1974 with plastic inner fender liner. Stuff actually is pretty decent. I mean, that's a nice tight seal. That's what the penguin said. I don't know if they do interspecies breeding. Never mind. Just in case you were wondering, this is something that actually happens in real life. You're welcome. Now, even though these inner fender panels are the original ones from the car, I upgraded the mounting locations to use physical hardware rather than removable clips. Obviously, these can't go on the car looking like this and smelling like someone lit Tickle Me Elmo on fire and pissed on it to put the fire out. Stuff. Wax and grease. For every 24 ounces, I need 8 ounces of hardener. I need to make 6 ounces. A little bit more there. That's about 6 ounces of painful pudding. Oh, I sure hope I got 2 ounces of this stuff. It smells a lot like that rubber weather stripping, like dying brain cells. While these panels did manage to last 50 years on this car, they were coated originally with a rubber-based undercoating. I wanted to upgrade that to a catalyzed epoxy-based bed liner, which should be much more durable and corrosion resistant than the original stuff. Ouch, my shin. Now, the same rocket scientist that did the exhaust and headers on this car also was one that modified my radiator for it, and I had him do some revisions. To this guy down here, the lower pipe. It now goes directly up, which will make getting a coolant hose on there possible with a genuine Toyota part. This is the original hose for a Toyota Tundra. That means not only is this the correct radiator for a Celica, but also now it's going to have correct hoses for that engine. All plug and play stuff. Okay. There is the lower port for the radiator hose, and it transitions up here to the thermostat housing. And for the top, bing bang boom, Louie was your uncle. Robot snacks. Fuck. Man, it'd be so much easier if I could get it from the back side. That's what he said. That's about all I'm gonna get out of these bolts right here. These are the longest yellow zinc ones I could find. So, eyes up. Aha. I bet you I gotta move this back further. There's no way this is getting in there. That is really close. Yeah, I'm gonna need some thready boy. Okay, mark. Yeah, that's pretty long, but it'll do. Spicy. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. To make room for the V8, I had to move the radiator forward about 3 inches, so it's literally inside the core support, touching the back side of the front grille. I think that will do. It's the following day. Now that I have the radiator hard mounted, it's critical that I get this correct because it'll make or break the difference between adequate cooling and a shit show. Nothing. So, 19, 3/8, 12, quarter. What matters is the size of the actual core. 320 millimeter by 490. I have a genius idea. I bought a backup radiator in case they stop producing them for these cars. You never know. So I can literally just measure this one because I want my shroud to bolt directly to these mounts, factory mounts. I have dimensions now, but I don't have 1/8 inch aluminum sheet. I also need some of that sheet for this. My custom fabricated a real cardboard induction box. You can always tell a package came from Japan because the cardboard looks like Hawaiian bread. It has that yellowish kind of, it looks edible. Yeah, that's what's up. My top filter, 320 by 170 millimeter, C. Just like that. Kind of neat construction. It's a little bit more porous on the top layer, but down here it's like a traditional air filter. A real cardboard induction filter sits inside here like a glove. Look how adorable this little one is. Tiny. I can do it that way or I can do it that way. For those of you that are unaware of Japanese aftermarket part companies, while these are not sponsored, I chose them solely because of the same reason why you choose the right wine to go with the right pasta. There you go. If that makes any sense. Making a cardboard cube was easy. This part won't be. I go to account for the height of the filter and the bend radius. 125. I don't know how much a bend is, but I'm gonna count for like 3 millimeters for a bend. I think the cardboard's a little bit thicker than the metal will be, but this is way harder to bend than the metal will be. What I don't want is to be able to see the black border or for the filter to come up out of the top. Now you're starting to see why good quality induction boxes cost so much money, because the amount of effort that goes into fabrication to make something like this. It's not easy. Why hello tomorrow, welcome to today. Inner fender panel, bed liner dry. Same with the back side, nice and glossy. Put this back on. Since the drain is right there for the wiper cowl area, it's naturally gonna be a high corrosion prone area because dirt and debris from the road kicks up in that corner as well, and then that's how earth is made. So I'm using a little bit of Cavity Wax Plus, not sponsored, but this is the stuff that Volkswagen Auto Group uses on all their vehicles, and there's a reason why they're so resistant to corrosion. I'm just gonna spray it up inside there. Nice thick coating or robot splooge. This stuff will dry like candle wax pretty much and protect it from corrosion. I don't even care if it gets on the threads of the bolts. It just protects the bolts from corrosion as well. As much as I was a stickler for only using the genuine Toyota bolts on this, I'm actually not going to for this panel. I'm gonna use black zinc coated fender bolts because they have that massive washer. Jeez, I might actually have to modify this hole a little bit. That's I mean, I do want a tight fit up against the fender. You can see the rubber is a nice tight seal against the inside of the fender, but it's a little too, maybe it's a tad too tight, I don't know. This area down here, I'm gonna have to modify. Don't exactly have a master plan for how this bottom's gonna work. Okay, I think that might do. A little bit of massage. Inner fender well, complete. I mean, yeah, it's got a little bit of crinkles down here where I had to massage it, but honestly, you're not gonna see down in here, and I'm gonna have a mud flap right here over it. And down here on the bottom, there's plenty of room for drainage for debris to come out of there, and you can hose in there if you need to rinse it. If you recall in the last video, I had to modify the 1UZ LS400 front sump oil pan, which is now fully welded up and should hopefully provide enough clearance for the Hashiroku anti-sway bar. However, for obvious reasons, I can't just put it back on the car bare metal. Just want to make sure that I kind of soften up any sand scratches. A little bit of 150 on the bare metal. Give it a little bit of tooth. Because I purchased this oil pan brand new, I was a little bit torn on whether I should strip the entire thing down to bare metal and repaint it from scratch, or to preserve as much of the original coating as possible and spot it in with something the same color. Because I don't have a paint booth, and realistically I don't have room for one in here. I could fit one in here, but then I'd have no room to park vehicles. So I got the next best thing. This is a 2K activated satin black paint that will look like the factory pieces. But whilst I'm at it, I have all this stuff that I had made. Nobody is gonna see any of these brackets, but the fact that there's little imperfections and sand scratches in them, if I paint over it, it's gonna show straight through the paint and it's gonna drive me insane. Yeah, that's gonna take a while. Have you ever noticed that when you sand metal that night when you wash your face, you can taste the metal? I've never understood why that happens. I guess it's because it's on your face and your mouth is on your face. Wax and grease remover. Subsequently, will also clean my floor. Probably should have did this before I sanded it, but sometimes I don't think before I do things. Need holes. Can I see the, oh yeah, I can. Oh, I forgot I gotta do that piece. Damn it. In the world of fabrication, a scribe is merely an English Sharpie. Transfer my scribe into a Sharpie mark, and a Sharpie is a Sharpie. Ouch. Oh man, I forgot to grab the cutting oil. There you go. Oh, the spit actually worked pretty good. Maybe now I should start a podcast. Test fit number 2. Oh yeah, that'll do. Whoa! I forgot the other thing up in the car. Don't do what I do dumb things. Holes. There and there. Starting right here. And that is approximately 5 millimeters. There. And then need to make a Harvey dent in it. Another hole. This is thick metal. Yep, those will work right there. I don't know where I got these gloves from. They were just on my bench. I think these came with the Amazon furniture. This in concept I thought would be super simple to pull off, but this is gonna be way more difficult because wow, my camera focused on that dot weird. What size is this? That's huge. Oh, that's not gonna be as easy as I thought it was. I don't know how I'm gonna even tighten that. Oh, how do I do this without puncturing a hole in the side of my hand? By implementing carefulling. If I thread that in like that, I think it'll work. So the following day, and I was contemplating whether I should paint all the stuff I have ready now or just fabricate everything and have everything all ready for paint all at once. So, go robot go. By going this route, I'm merely setting myself up for a super satisfying to watch video after this one because everything is going to be ready for final assembly and paint all at the same time. It fell in the thing. To construct the radiator fan shroud, I went with an 1/8 inch thick aluminum sheet, which is the same thickness as the tabs on the side of the radiator itself. It's thin enough to be lightweight, but also thick enough to be rigid to support the 2 fans. It got my knee. Does it fit? It should. Yeah.
Good.
The material I chose for the construction of the induction box is 16 gauge aluminum. It's roughly a 1/16 of an inch thick, which will be lightweight and also strong when it's all welded together in the box shape, while also dissipating heat rather quickly and not getting heat soaked because it is so thin. So this is a test lid that is now bent. And you can see we had to make scores to be able to bend the other side by hand because it's physically impossible to double bend something this small on there. So the answer will be modifying the way we do the tabs to bolt it down to the box, which will look a lot cleaner in the end anyway. Final piece, final bend. This is tricky, very tricky. Carefully. Cardboard turned into real life. Shout out to Dave and Seth at the Custom Barbecue Grill shop for taking the time out to make these. That was a massive help. Filter lids. Does it fit inside? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. That's gonna be perfect. This is the bottom. The filter should fit snug, which it does. And that lid goes over the top. Tabs get bent out and bolted down top side. Filter should fit snug inside this, which it does. Fits over the top. Again, these tabs get bent outward, holes put in them, and then bolted down to the lid, which will hold the filter nice and secure. And then obviously there's a hole that's cut out on the side for a 76mm intake pipe to go into the air box, and then it's mounted on rubber mounts. So it's just like an OEM air box, but made out of aluminum rather than plastic. So I now have the radiator fan shroud, which I'll be able to cut the circles out once I know exactly where the fans are gonna sit. A real cardboard induction box, which the rocket scientist welder that did the exhaust is going to weld up. And then my brackets and modified pan, which all need to be painted. And then once all that stuff is done, the rest of the engine bay can be assembled. You'll likely be seeing Forrest in another video because he's going to change up the rear bracket for the muffler to make it more rigid with one that uses these circular style bushings, which will allow for way less movement side to side or up and down. I also just want to say thank you for all of you that have had patience with dealing with me moving from shop to shop and setting up this place and then trying to resume work on this car. And the work I have left is super time consuming and really stressful to try to film. So thank you, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye.